Welcome to Season 3 of Students of Mind, the podcast that's all about opening up and normalizing discussions about mental health in ways that anyone can comprehend. In the first 2 seasons, we sat down with mental health experts and survivors to give you a full circle picture of each topic. In this new season, we will continue to explore the world of mental health through the insights of experts, healers, and individuals with lived experience. From alternative healing modalities to living with multiple illnesses, this season we will cover a wide range of topics with the help of a diverse selection of guests. My name is Jade, and today's episode is the second Checking In with Jade episode, where I'll be giving you an update on how I've been doing and talk about what's coming up for the podcast. I hope by listening to the show, you're able to learn something new and gain some encouragement through hearing our experts and listening to the journeys of our guests. However, this show is not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have about your condition. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on the Students of Mind podcast. Hey friends, it's your host Jade here, and today is another Checking In with Jade episode. I wanted to do another one of these at the start of the new season because I just wanted to give you guys an update on what's coming up for the podcast and talk a little bit about how I've been doing. So let's get right into it. So first, I just want to talk about how I've been doing overall. I know the last time I made one of these, I was actively in eating disorder treatment. So that was a few months ago, and since then I have discharged, and at this point I've been discharged from that treatment program for about 5 months, which I didn't even realize it's already been that long. It feels like a long time, but also feels like a very short time. But things are so different now than they were 5 months ago. I'm feeling a lot better than I was 5 months ago. I'm way more motivated. I have a little bit more energy. And I just have like a higher desire to socialize and like hang out with friends. And then also I've just been wanting to be out in nature more. Another thing that has improved is like 5 months ago I was having like things that I needed to get done. They were just starting to pile up, and it was making me really overwhelmed because I wasn't in a place where I could get those things done, or I felt like I didn't have the energy, but now I do. So it's like, for example, some of the things that I was like needing to do but didn't have the energy was like setting a bunch of different doctor's appointments, like dentist and primary care physician and gynecologist. Like I needed to make all of those appointments, and 5 months ago, it felt like I didn't have the energy to do anything more than what I was doing on a daily basis, even though these were appointments that I really needed. But as things started improving, I've been able to make those appointments, and that in turn has just like also made my physical health improve, because I am actually taking the time to do the things I need to do to make sure I am physically well. Like, I have the energy to do that now, which I didn't have that before. All of that being said, like, all of this good stuff has happened, and I am still struggling with a few things. I'm in a really high stress period, and I'll get into a little bit where that stress is coming from in a bit. But yeah, I'm very stressed, and my anxiety is pretty high. But the thing about it is that I'm able to manage the stress and anxiety fairly well. Whereas, like, again, 5 months ago, if I was dealing with the amount of stress and anxiety that I'm dealing with now, it would have been like I wouldn't have been able to manage it as well as I'm managing it now. So yeah, although the stress and the anxiety is still there and is pretty intense at times, my ability to manage it has improved tremendously, so it kind of like balances it out. Yeah, so overall I'm doing a lot better. Stress is high, but I'm managing to get through it and get things done, and I'm starting to do more work that brings me more meaning and makes me feel like I'm getting closer to my purpose. Which, yeah, again, like, it feels like only in 5 months I've been able to get to this spot, which I'm really thankful and grateful for. So yeah, that's how I'm doing overall. As some of you may know, I am in recovery from an eating disorder. That's something that I talk about sometimes on the podcast. But as I said earlier, at the beginning of this year, I had to go back into treatment, and I was in treatment from February to June. So yeah, that was a really interesting experience, because it had been like 4 years since I had been in any type of eating disorder treatment. And so it was a bit of a culture shock to be back in that environment after so long. But I'm so happy that I took the time to go back, because it was monumental in getting me back into a healthy place. So now, the eating disorder, how am I doing with it? Not terrible. What I'm struggling with the most right now isn't really the food part, but the body image part. And I'm making sure to really stay recovery focused and do my meal plan and stick to my like movement agreements, and I'm doing it, but the body image piece is honestly kind of miserable right now. I luckily have a lot of support around it. I go to a group twice a week that's really helpful in supporting me around this part of my experience. I go to therapy every week. So I have support around it, but I would be lying if I said like the day to day of dealing with body image struggles is really, really, really hard. Some days are easier than others, but I will say recently it's been more challenging, and I've been doing my best to like reframe the negative thoughts about my body and my brain, and like I put up sticky notes and things on my mirrors to remind me that my body is fine just the way it is. So yeah, that's something that I'm having to really work through right now. And I'm kind of on the end of it where it's really icky and tough to deal with every day. But I'm still doing recovery, and I just want to make sure that I like, just for myself, that I continue to acknowledge the fact that I'm like, despite what I'm experiencing body image wise, I'm still continuing to like eat my meal plan and be mindful about movement and like stay recovery focused in other aspects of recovery, if that makes sense. So yeah, that is how recovery is going. Next I'm going to talk a little bit about my anxiety and depression, which I kind of touched on in the beginning of like how I'm feeling overall. But depression has gotten tremendously better. I remember when I got discharged from the eating disorder program I was in, I was still experiencing a lot of my severe depression symptoms, and it kind of felt like I was like just being dropped with nothing to replace the support that the eating disorder group was providing me with. But luckily, when I left the treatment center, I started a treatment for my depression. I started ketamine assisted therapy, and that helped with my symptoms so much. I actually recorded an episode all about my experience with ketamine, so you can hear more about that in that episode. But yeah, the ketamine treatments really improved my depression, and with the depression symptoms improving, I got a little bit more energy and was able to start doing some work. And yeah, like I have notes written out for this episode, and one of them says, depression is so much better, I almost don't believe it. And that's true. It's like, again, 5 months ago seems like far away, but also not that far away. And the amount of things that I'm able to do in a day, both like work related things and also like self-care related things, it's just like I could never, 5 months ago I wouldn't have imagined that I would be doing as much as I'm doing now. And I think I need to give myself some credit. I can't give all the credit to the ketamine because I have been doing a lot of work to get to this point too. But yeah, my depression is a lot better. Anxiety, on the other hand, is still pretty severe. I would say it's back to being like the most difficult symptom to deal with. I kind of just have like a buzzing throughout the day that gets intense at certain times of the day, and yeah, managing that isn't as bad as it used to be. Like I feel like I have more tools now to manage the anxiety, and I've been like practicing coping skills and grounding skills on a daily basis since I left treatment, and I think that has really helped with me feeling like I have the ability to bring myself down when I'm feeling really anxious. So that in that sense, things have improved. But like physically, it's the anxiety still feels really freaking hard, really freaking hard. Um, and I'm working with my therapist to work on that. And I'm hopeful that we're gonna be able to get it more under control. Yeah, that's kind of how I want to end that part. So the next part I want to talk about is just like something I've been struggling with. So you probably don't know this, but I am a college dropout. So I went to college for a couple years, and started to get my associate's degree in psychology with a minor in sociology. But and I've kind of known this since high school, but the school or the academic environment, I don't thrive in that environment. Like I can make myself thrive, if that makes sense, by doing things that put like my mental health on the back burner, but I don't like doing that. So yeah, I feel like at least in this point in my life, like school is not for me. Um but the thing with that is like what I'm struggling with right now is like imposter syndrome, because there's still a lot of people who hold a lot of value in a college degree, especially in the field I'm trying to work in this field of mental health. I feel like having those letters next to your name listing your credentials is valued very highly. And I don't have that, but what I do have is over a decade of lived experience navigating the mental health care system in the US. And what I want to do is help people do that. And, I feel like, and people have continued to try and like hint to me that I have value, um, despite not having a college degree. And, I think this belief comes from messages from society, messages from like family that I used to get, and like feeling like I'm just worried that I'm not going to be taken seriously in the work that I want to do. And that's been really, really hard to deal with, because it comes up every time I do this work. Like every time I work on the podcast, every time I work on these new service offerings that I'm working on, this uneasy feeling comes up that I'm not going to be able to have the reach that I want, because people just aren't going to take me seriously because I don't have a college degree or letters, credentials next to my name. So, yeah, like what I'm doing right now is like creating a career for myself in the mental health field from scratch, which is freaking scary and really challenging and stressful. But I keep being told that it's possible, and that what I'm working on and what I'm going to offer is needed. And I do, like, I see that. I see that what I'm going to offer is needed. But yeah, there's just so much anxiety about like, what if someone realizes I don't have a college degree, and then that makes them feel like I can't, like I'm not qualified to help them. So yeah, that's one thing I've been struggling with. I've been, talking about it with my therapist and my partner and family, and they've been reassuring me again that like I'm worth more than whatever credentials I may or may not have. So I'm trying to hold on to that and convince myself of that. But it's I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a struggle. So, I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up for the podcast. Season 3 is about to start, and I'm so excited because we have some really cool topics coming up. Let me read off some of these topics that we have. I'm really looking forward to this one. We have psychedelic assisted therapy episodes coming out. We have episodes on EMDR and brain spotting. More episodes about eating disorders. There's going to be an episode on why it's so hard to find a therapist, who to call during a mental health crisis. And then also things like borderline personality disorder and dissociative identity disorder. So we have a very diverse set of episodes coming up with really great guests, and I'm so excited to share these conversations with you. Also, with this new season, there will be a Facebook group. The Facebook group is called Students of Mind Chats. You should get a little message during this episode to learn more about what this Facebook group is, but yes, it will be available when this new season comes out. So that's coming up. I'm also going to be creating an online store with a planner that I've been working on. I'm really excited about that. I've been working on this planner for a few months. I developed like a little system for myself after getting out of eating disorder treatment as a way to like organize my days, and I created a planner out of that system. And so yeah, that's gonna be out and available for you guys to get if you want it once the new season starts. And lastly, I'm going to be offering some services now. So I'm going to be offering 2 services. Both are meant to support you with finding mental health resources. So they're called sister sessions. And the first offering is where you get to sit down with me for 2 hours and we can do an in-depth search for mental health resources that fit your needs. And then the other one is if you don't have the time to sit down for those 2 hours and look for resources with me, the second option is you fill out a questionnaire and I do the resource search for you and I send a customized resource list to you. So yeah, these are 2 offerings that I'm really passionate about because like this is what I want to do. Like I want to support people in getting the help that they deserve, and like this is a step towards that. I named them sister sessions because I wanted the service to feel like you are getting to sit down with your sister or like a close friend, someone that you can really trust with, whatever you're going through, and trust to help guide you in the right direction. So that's why I named it that. The name might change, but that's what it is for now. So yeah, those 2 offerings should be available now. If they're not, of course, I will keep everyone updated when they are available. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be starting to do this because this is something that I wish I would have had in my journey. I just wish that there was more support around the finding and access of care. So yeah, I'm just so excited to start helping people with this. With all of these things that I mentioned, all of these offerings, I want to just be honest and say I have dates for these things, but life is still happening. I'm still trying to maintain my mental health, so some things may take longer than I express, And so yes, I just want to put that out there and just say that if you want to make sure that you're up to date with any of these offerings that I'm working on, anything related to Students of Mind, you can always go to the website studentsofmind.com or Instagram, and there will be updates there. So, my last little thing for today, this season I decided to have a signature question for all of my guests. I felt like this was a good way to pull every episode kind of together to bring a common thread through each episode. But I also wanted to ask this question because as I've been talking about, I went back to treatment this year, and one of the main things that I learned was that I really need to be on top of self-care, because if I'm not taking care of myself, I literally do not have the ability to do the things that I want to do, because if I don't take care of myself, I don't have the ability to help people, to do the work that I want to do with this, to make doctor's appointments that I need to make. So yeah, the question that I'm going to be asking this season is, what is one thing you do to maintain mental wellness? And so my answer, which I already talked about a little bit, but I do a coping and grounding routine every single day. This is something that I started after I got discharged from my eating disorder program, because I have been collecting a toolbox of coping skills and grounding skills for years. Ever since I was 11 and started therapy and was taught about coping and grounding, I've just been collecting them over time. But the thing that I haven't done on a consistent basis is practice them. So what I did is I created this little ritual that I do in the middle of the day, and it's pretty simple. So I start with 5 minutes of brain dumping, and brain dumping is basically just writing in a journal everything that's on your brain. No matter how it comes out, just whatever is on your brain, get it out of your brain and onto paper. That's a really helpful tool for me if I'm feeling overwhelmed. So yeah, my coping and grounding routine starts with that. And then I do movement. So my movement lately has been yoga. That's a really great form of movement that gets me connected to my body in a way that feels safe. And then after movement, I choose one coping skill or one grounding skill to practice. So lately, my grounding skill has been EFT tapping, which there's an episode coming out on that, so you can learn more about that in that episode. But yeah, it's like a meditation that utilizes affirmations and acupressure points. So that's been my go-to grounding skill recently. So yeah, that's my answer, and I hope you guys enjoy hearing throughout the season all the different answers to this question. It's been really cool to hear answers from not just the people I have on from as survivors, but also the experts that I have on. It's cool to hear what everyone does to maintain their mental wellness. So I'm excited for you guys to hear that. So that's all. I thank you for listening to this little check-in, and I'm really excited for this new season and just this new phase of Students of Mind that's about to start. And I'm excited to bring you guys along with me, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Students of Mind. I've really enjoyed doing these checking in with Jayde episodes. I feel like it not only gives you, the audience, a chance to get to know me, but it's also just a good check-in for myself, just to see the progress I've made, and it's also kind of like a form of accountability. It just helps make sure that I do the things that I say I'm gonna do. So yeah, I hope you guys are able to get something out of these checking in with Jayde episodes as well. If you have time, please leave a rating and review for the podcast. You can do so in the Apple Podcasts or Spotify app toward the bottom of the show page, or using an app like Good Pods. Reviews and ratings help me know if you're resonating with the episodes that come out, and they get all of this mental health information that's in each episode into more ears. Don't forget to go to facebook.com/studentsofmindchats to join the community that I'm creating. Thank you so much again for listening. I hope you learned something new or resonated with something you heard today, and I'll see you next episode.